Welcome to the Maritime Startup Ecosystem Interviews, a series we created to give even more exposure to startups from the Maritime Startup Ecosystem Network. Today I'm here with Mark Porter of GeoSpock. GeoSpock designs, develops, and delivers GeoSpock DB, a unique cloud-native database optimized for space-time querying. Now, hello, Mark. I'm very happy that you're here with us because you have to tell me what did I just read. Hi, Mark. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks very much for having me. Yeah, you got that pretty much right. I think so. So yes, GeoSpock is a database company, technology company based out of Cambridge in the UK, who make a database which is optimized for geospatial data. Geospatial data has a few problems associated with it. It's really complicated and it grows exponentially when we try and record it, because it has not only a device, but also a space component and a time component. So it increases across kind of 3 dimensions. And that means it's really hard for traditional systems of data management and data infrastructure to deal with that data in a time and cost efficient manner. And that's exactly the problem that GeoSpock and the database we make, GeoSpock DB, are designed to address.
Okay, great, thank you. But now it's clear. And I think it might be very interesting to understand how this is applied in the maritime sector, because well, our target audience is the maritime industry, and I consider you a maritime startup. So can you tell us about applications in maritime, how it works, and what is, so it's a database, but then what does the client get out of it?
Absolutely. So you're right to say that we are involved in the maritime sector, and it's clearly a key area, but at its broadest level, GeoSpock is kind of agnostic to the types of data that go into the platform. The reason that we're so interested in the maritime sector is because the data that's used in maritime to track vessels and to understand the supply chain is inherently spatial in nature. We move goods from A to B, and they move across the world and they interact with each other in time and space. So that's our main area in maritime at a very broad level. Some of the use cases for that kind of information are very broad as well. And broadly, as a database, we have applicability to a wide range of domain areas within maritime. So we've worked on projects looking at mapping and quantifying emissions in the maritime space from vessels in a more dynamic manner. And we also have interests in improving operations around ports, moving towards the ultimate goal of just-in-time port operations. So GeoSpock isn't necessarily focused around the data from a vessel or the data from a specific area of an operation. It enables you to link all those different chains of data together and get a much better visibility on that data across your whole organization. So that is the kind of core of GeoSpock.
So well, it's clear. Data about stuff that moves in space and of course in time is essentially is the essence of shipping. So definitely you are very well positioned to help on that. So now you said not only moving stuff around, but also ideas on pollution, for example, so there are several applications, as far as I understand from what you're telling me, of geospatial data to maritime. Now, I would say I'm always thinking, okay, maritime is a very traditional industry, and as long as it's not compulsory, it's an industry that doesn't want to change. So we've done this always the same way, and let's not change it. And there is a reason for it, because generally margins are very low. The machine is a very well-oiled machine, even if it's an ancient machine, whatever, but it's very well-oiled. and you want to touch any cog, because you just mess up with one cog and you destroy the machine. And it's super dangerous, particularly in a very low margin industry. So having said that, how do clients receive this new opportunity of working with data, and how do they? So the advantages, in retrospect, are obvious, but initially, for a new client, what are the biggest hurdles that they have to go across or pass to understand and get on board with your solution?
So I think you're right. Data is very important in the maritime sector, and it's estimated around 120 million data points are made in the maritime sector alone every day today. And that number is only going to increase exponentially in the next 5 to 10 years. Probably in 10 years, it'll be 1 billion points of data are created every day in the maritime sector. And it's great that we're all going out and all organizations understand the value of data collection and understand that the principle behind data collection is to improve visibility through better measurement and better sort of precision and understanding of the operational environment in which maritime acts. But as well as collecting that data, it has to be managed. It has to be organized in a way that means it can actually effectively be used. And there are other studies which suggest that at the moment, 90% of all data that's collected by any enterprise in any industry is not used and no value is extracted from it. So yes, systems exist at the moment to acquire the data, and there are ways of extracting value from data, but they miss the vast majority of that value.
Yeah.
And so what GeoSpock enables is a much more holistic sense of data management, so that you've got your environmental management system, you've got your safety system, you've got your operations data, and you've got your commercial strategy data, and they're all separate and they're all siloed and they don't really talk to each other. And the teams that run each of those systems probably don't even talk to each other. What GeoSpock enables is all of that data to be placed in one place, such that it's much more flexible. Your data environment is much more flexible and much more easily accessible across the entire suite of an organization's domains of interest. And that does two things. Firstly, it means that data, that 90% of data that's not being used at the moment, can find much more innovative ways of being used, so the value in potential of your data increases.
Yep.
And the second thing is, by having a sort of single point of truth for all that data, we dramatically reduce the kind of costs and overheads associated with data redundancy that you see in a modern day organization. And we all deal with data redundancy on an individual scale every day, right? How many times have you made a document where you make it, then you send it to someone else, they approve it, they send it to someone else who adds their comments, and suddenly you've got 3 versions of the same document, all with slightly different information in them, and none of them are fully complete. That's the problem at an individual level. But when you magnify that to deal with these 100 million data points, this is costing companies tens of thousands of dollars every year and hundreds of hours of manpower in organizing systems, re-engineering processes to deal with new data sources. And fundamentally, that's what GeoSpock solves, is the ability to simplify that whole process, reduce the cost base of data management such that it's really simple, it's really easy, and it's much more flexible to get out the performance and value from that data.
Right. Yeah. No, yeah. It's really crazy. It seems that maritime is the word of 90%. We carry 90% of all goods, but we as other industries as well waste 90% of all the data collected. So there's always this 90% lurking around. So now it's clear the advantage for a user, for a company, for a client, is clear of how they can really enhance the use or use the data that they have to enhance their operations. Now, how are you doing with in terms of business development? For listeners who don't know whether you are just an early stage startup or maybe a later stage, how are you doing? Do you have already your customers? Do you have already pilots run, or at what stage are you at? now?
Absolutely. So we are, I think, yeah, we're on the cusp of between being a startup and a scale-up. We have around 60 employees now, predominantly in the data science and IT sort of domains, technology development side. And major milestones in the last kind of 12 months include branching out from just sort of a UK-centric operation to having satellite centres in Singapore and Tokyo. Particularly Singapore, we see a lot of activity coming from there in the future. We work not only in the maritime sector, which obviously is a big area for Singapore, is very important within, but also in smart cities and telecommunications, both of which have really come on leaps and bounds in the Asian in the Asia region, and Singapore particularly we see as a very advanced region for adoption of new technologies and digital solutions such as ours. In terms of investment funding, we are through our Series A rounds, where we raised a total of 21 million. We're currently planning for a secondary investment round to augment those funds to the tune of around 5 to 7 million.
That's interesting. And time frame is right now or in the next few months?
That round is pretty imminent. Yeah.
Okay. That's super interesting, particularly for investors that might be watching this. They certainly know of you already because, as you told us, you're clearly almost a scale up. Or already a scale up. You're definitely in the growth phase, expansion, geographic expansion, and several employees, 60, and a serious base of investment so far that really brought you to this point. So now 5 to 7 million bridge round to sort of grow.
Yeah. So I think that the main aim of that money is to help really productize what we have at the moment and take what have been, proof of concepts and really turn it into a platform which is production focused for the future. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, okay. I think that this is the purpose of these interviews. Of course, to let you explain what the company does, which I think you did greatly, and let also potential clients and investors get to know you and get to think of you as whether you are a potential target for them to work with, either to buy from or to invest in. So I think we did our job. And I really hope that this will help and we will some good stuff will come out of it. We ask you also to let us know if it happens, and of course it will happen. And I think that's all. Short and sweet. As always, I try not to overextend too much because then attention span sort of disappears. So thank you very much, Mark Porter from GeoSpock, and good luck, stay safe, and keep working hard. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mark. Cheers.
Bye-bye.